So.
Pretty cool. Sun hits up there in the snow.
Shoot one more for me, dude.
Yeah.
You guys do pretty busy if you're doing fires in California.
I was busy last year. Like that again. Because I was gone a month.
So if I had an insert,
Like that was right before hunting season.
25 grand insert to a short 2 grand.
Peep position looks pretty good. The length's pretty decent. I personally would probably choke up on my release a little more than you are.
Like don't.
Like get your fingers around it a little more.
Okay.
It's like you're way out there and
Yeah,
your
right
fingers
here.
just barely on it.
Yeah.
I would really love to see your thumb more around the knob
Hook the knob a little
instead
more.
of touching, because I have a hard time seeing what you're doing, not just being a to get it to go off.
Yeah.
If you hook your thumb around it more, it kind of forces you to pull into it a little more, which
Sure.
will give you a little more back pressure, which will give you a little bit steadier sight picture.
Okay.
Let me hop up and look behind you here.
Yeah, sure, man.
Getting your steps in today, aren't you? Up and down, up and down.
Not as much as they did yesterday.
Yeah, I bet.
I was filming them while they got step up, so it's pretty fun.
There's no instinctive shooting. I'm in a compound, so I picked that up in August.
Yeah, you're absolutely, like your elbow's past 90, or a straight line for where the arrow is. And
Right,
if you,
I'm hooking that elbow.
yeah, you're
straight back.
Well, your positioning's fine. It's just too far back. Like if you tried to actually pull on target, you couldn't. You're as extended as you could possibly get, and as soon as you tried to pull, you'd go to the right.
Okay.
When you tried to pull. So if you choke up on your release a little more, I think everything else is fine.
Shorten.
Yes, shorten the distance
that,
between
so,
here
so
and
I'm
here.
not maxed out.
Correct.
Essentially.
Yeah, when he does the film above you, you're going to look at it, you're going to see that your elbow's past the arrow.
Okay. Instead of in line.
Instead of in line. We're trying to be in line with the arrow, so when you're pulling on the back end of it, you're pulling straight back from the arrow,
Sure.
and you don't get the left to right angle that most people
You're trying to
will.
get that pull to where it backs out before you come down, right?
Correct.
Like hitting the wall behind you.
Mm-hmm. The human mechanical wall.
And we have no idea. I just want things done for that. I should get talking to you if you sound smart enough, because I really don't know what I'm doing.
That is the first flip phone I've seen in ages. It's a little better, still a little long.
Yeah, I can now that I'm
this.
focusing on it.
You feel it?
I'm seeing that. Yeah, that elbow is tucked a little back.
Pretend like you're holding the bow and everything. Okay, so relax your hand.
Relearn the system.
So the pressure, grab your release like you're hanging on. The pressure and a mechanical release, I'm going to bring you forward here so I can just isolate this portion. Alright, relax everything. Okay, see how everything just shifted a little bit? In archery, as much as it's contradictory to the workout, exercise routine, etc., you want to start in a position that you would end in. So if you're exhausted, your arm would look more like this. Not compressed and given, and you got a bend in here that shouldn't be in
You're
here.
tight in the forearm.
Tighten the forearm. You shouldn't have, like, hang on with your fingers and just your fingers. So just grip your fingers and leave everything the same. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we're simply isolating your fingers to your elbow. Everything from there back can do work. From here to there should do nothing. And if that's doing something, you're creating variance. As you create variance, when you go to do it over and over and over again, no different when you try to pump out 20 reps and the 17th rep looks way worse than the first one. It's no different than drawing your bow back and forth. And you have muscle tension in there, it's changing, and then it's changing a little more, and then it's changing a little more, and you're holding it different.
Yeah.
Right? Archery has to be held the same, period. So if you start where you would end, it's the same. It's no different than with your stance. Like, you don't stand up tall and proud and whatnot. You rock your hips back. You relax your weight over your body. Like if you're completely out of shape, which is contradictory to all this, because everyone's working to try to be healthy and in good shape, right? Well, you have to stand yourself in a position where you're not applying muscle tension, other than right here. You want to apply pressure here so your sight picture gets steady, but you want to apply pressure in the same way every time.
Sure.
So you try to take as much muscle pressure out of it. Like hold your arm out. Okay. So by putting your hand like this, the pressure right here, we've now taken our wrist and everything completely out of the picture.
Right.
This shouldn't have pressure. It should be a big old pile of jello. Well, that's multiple sets of muscles that aren't in the equation. push towards me.
It's that sense of give right there in that location, right?
Yeah, all that pressure should go right through the center part of your arm here. And then if this is nice and straight and you apply pressure back here, when I push on you, you should actually feel it back here.
Yeah.
If you feel it here or here, you're using here or here to hold
Yeah,
it
you're
out.
compensating with those
You're
muscles.
compensating with those
Feeling
muscles.
this, yeah.
Every time you draw it, those muscles change. Muscles change every time you use them.
Until I get
Period. So if you can eliminate as many of them as possible from what you're doing, you will consistently do it the same more for a longer period of time. That's all we're really going for in archery. Now, granted, when you're hunting, you're firing one arrow, so yeah. But from consistent target duplication of archery,
Yeah,
you're
and
trying to
muscle memory.
eliminate as many muscles out of it as possible. Especially if you just spent 3 hours climbing up to the top of that mountain chasing an elk. Do you think your muscles aren't tired?
Yeah, they're
Freaking tired.
You bet.
So start the way you would finish and think about that. You know, you could start by holding up your arm and your forearm and everything, but by the time you're done, your shoulder's going to relax. It's going to push against your back because your back's stronger than your shoulder. And if you can eliminate the muscle usage out of that, it's going to be the same. No different than come up here and your back's holding the bow back. My forearm isn't, my bicep isn't, my shoulder isn't, my back is.
Right.
So the strongest part of my body is doing the work. So when I'm fatigued, it's still the strongest part of my body doing the work. As you shoot, your arms will get tired, your forearms will get tired first, then your biceps, then your shoulders, then your back.
Progressive.
Right?
Right.
Start with your back to begin with, it'll be the same. So outside of that, looks pretty good. Choke up on that more.
Okay.
So you can get a little more in the face and get your thumb around the barrel a little more. Roll that barrel back a little more so you can get around
Yeah,
it easier.
adjust it.
Yeah.
Move it
that
this way.
Yeah, move it back that way more actually.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is easier to achieve. Yeah. When you choke up on it a little more, it's going to feel totally different anyway.
Right. Okay. Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Of course. My pleasure. Sure. No, I understand. All right.
Maybe. Somewhere in there.
Okay, number one, your front hand is just hanging on to your bow for dear life.
Okay.
It's not going anywhere. You don't have to hold it.
That's one of the things I
It's
always
not that
have in mind.
untrustworthy old lady or nothing. You don't have to hang on tight. She's going to be right there. So open that hand up, and if you can shorten this, do, because your position is here when you're trying to anchor. You're stretched out a long ways to get to your trigger, and your hand, I almost guarantee it, as soon as you point down or point up, is going to come off of your jaw, and everything's going to move a lot more.
So
This should be
shorten
short.
this or tighten this?
First and foremost, I get the strap as tight as possible so it doesn't have the ability to be different from one time I turn it on to the next.
Okay. I always kind of leave it on that third one, but that's probably about as tight as I would
What
want.
about if the strap is like hurting your hand, like a
Well, there's a line. I don't want you to turn like your
like
hand
when
blue.
you pull your bow back? How we could deal with that when I get my bow up here.
Immediately looks better. Peep probably feels like it's a little rusty too, huh?
A little bit.
Because your peep's really low for your face structure.
Okay.
And it's really low because it was so
Because
long.
that was long, yeah.
Yeah. And then you run out of the ability to shoot range with a lower peep. And you bought a sight that's designed to shoot range. So I would encourage this higher, that shorter, and just keep shortening that up until you feel like you can't handle it anymore. Because you're still really reaching out to get to your trigger, even like that. And ideally, I would like to see your finger not like a rifle, but around it. So when you pull backwards, you're discharging rather than trying to use your finger to discharge.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So shorten this up.
Shorten that up too.
Okay. That's probably about as tight as I would want it.
Yeah, I don't want you to turn your hand blue or nothing, but if this is snug against your wrist, there's less variance.
Okay.
And when it's loose, it can pitch to the left, pitch to the right, and you're still going to pull it back, and it's not going to rotate against your skin. It's going to stick as soon as you start to draw. So if
You
that
said
can be,
raise this, right?
yeah, that should probably go up a little bit from where it is, but you're also going to want to shorten that, and then that in turn will also make it want to go up higher, which will make you hit higher. Your front sight will need to come up higher as well.
Okay.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead and shoot another one. Let me look over the top of you real quick here. Come up here and film the side view of his face and his anchor.
I was only worried about the second shot.
Nice. Nice, nice, That's nice. Elbow position's great. You hop up there and do one more in the film. So if I was to fire your arrow backwards, it should run into your elbow, and yours would. And run right into your elbow. So to me, it's an indicator of your draw length is really good.
Okay.
Means you're not overextending or underextending your draw length and trying to morph your body to fit your draw length. Shortening that is not going to, all that's going to do is choke you up a little more here. Your elbow's still going to sit in the same spot, and it'll give you a little more front pressure that you can actually push and pull towards the target, which should steady your sight picture. You're a little tiny bit overextended, but not through your elbow. It's in here. Just going to get that finger up more on the trigger, which will, changing that will do that. Okay. Get that guy a little higher, give you a little more range. Outside of that, it's good.
Can this be tied high enough, or does this whole thing just need to be?
These will all move actually if you can push on them hard enough. Okay. They will move themselves.
It's something I could do myself.
As long as the peep doesn't get to a point where it's sitting sideways, because you'll need a press to take the pressure off the string, so you can turn the string a rotation and rotate where the peep sits. Okay. So you may be able to, just depends on how much you're trying to move it. You can always force this loop to line up with your peep, like that, or like that if it's sitting that way. So when you pull it back, it turns it.
Okay.
Within reason. You start to get to where your peep's sitting like this, it's really hard to bring it back without twisting the string.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
I'm gonna drive back today. Whenever we're done. You don't have to go. What's that? You don't have to go very far. It's like 11 hours. Salt Lake, yeah.
Okay. Come stand over here. Come side. Your side view actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Your peep could probably stand to go up a little bit, if anything. Your hand position in the front's actually pretty good. Can you see all the way around that sight housing?
We do construction.
When I'm looking through here, I see the outside of that. Let me double check.
Okay.
Where do you what do you do for that? So you go to a job and
put your arm back up like you're rolling. You want to try to roll your elbow up and back a little. Your positioning wise, you're a little forward, so you're probably hanging on here and here instead of back here. Like engaging this portion. So if you relax your shoulder, forward, backing up, forward, backing up. When I hit you up here, this compresses. We're trying to use your back to hold it back in your skin.
Okay. So when I start, do I? I've seen some guys and they're way up here trying to draw it back now, and I try to draw it low and then get it back.
You got to keep your elbow above your shoulder, or you're rotating your shoulder with weight on it. So you start here. Keep your elbow above your shoulder, draw it back, and when you get to right about here, you want to engage your scap and pull it up. Alright? So your sequence, straight, elbows above shoulder, when you get to about your nose, somewhere in that vicinity in front, rotate your shoulder up and back, and then your hand angle will change. This will still stay the same, right? But your hand angle will change to where it's running alongside your jawbone. To where you can get this pressure back in here behind your jaw, like that. And you're now engaged back here. You've got pressure back here. Okay. Make sense? Yeah. Very roughly. Keep your elbow above your shoulder, or you'll do damage to your shoulder. Up above and feel low.
Here.
Yeah, keep your elbow above your shoulder. Yep.
I'm in sales. So right
Okay, so you're drawing your bicep.
happened a couple months ago, but I got promoted to sales manager, which I'm kind of in between on it, because I was just a sales rep.
Okay. Gotta keep that up when you're drawing though. And it's, if you gotta back your poundage down to get used to it, do it. What you're trying to do is put your toe on target, whatever that target is, whether it's brown and furry or a yellow dot, it doesn't matter. And keep your elbow above and try to keep it on the target as you draw it back.
For the sake of my shoulder.
For several reasons. One, keep your elbow above your shoulder will save your shoulder. You won't damage your shoulder. Because if you're drawing down like this and then rotating your shoulder up with weight against it, that's not really smart. Because you're literally rotating the socket when you do that. Keep it above. This is all engaged in the same path. It's not, you're not changing the path of it. So 1, 2, if you get that up and loaded correctly and your shoulders are back, when you point at a target, it won't move so much. So, but the length looks good. That I wouldn't change. Your peep looks a tiny bit low. I would probably bump your peep up a little bit.
And how would I do that?
You'd need probably a little there. And that's probably about all you need, because it looks a tiny bit low. Make sure outside you can see all the way around that, because that's a really large housing. That size of hole.
I can see the space.
In here you probably can.
Okay.
If you go outside, it's going to look smaller.
Okay.
Okay? So go ahead and do one more for me. Just take one more look at you.
It's funny, it's harder to pull up here.
Yes, it is, 100%.
We like all computers and stuff. It was like real hot still.
So my hand like get up against my cheek,
Yes,
yeah?
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's weird, I can feel it.
That's because you're actually using here. And you're not before.
So not so much
First 10 times you do that, you're going to be like, oh,
I already feel
freaking
it.
beat. It's because you're not using it.
So not my bicep.
No.
Scap.
Correct.
Okay.
Go ahead and do one more and then we should be good.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just get all in for it. I mean, I'm I hunt deer and all that stuff in the Northeast. Like, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? When I go to Colorado, it's just really now that I have because I was waiting to come in before I bought.
Yeah, I gotta back the pound shop when I get back.
Yep. Take it down like 10 pounds and draw it correctly, and then honestly, do it a couple hundred times. It'll get really easy. You're just not used to it.
I figured like, oh, I'm probably gonna draw this year for Utah and for Elk.
Can you give me another one?
Yeah, so I went through the whole thing like you guys done this yet? No, not yet. You get excited.
One more?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Is there like a shop over where you're at?
I don't know now. I need to find out.
Okay, effectively, you need to take a ½ inch. Whether you shorten the loop to do it, that's about an inch. You can probably get away with like a ½ inch.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. You're a little bit extended, just tiny, but I don't think it's draw length. I think it's just here. And if you can shorten that a little bit, you'll get it too. So when you get up to your hand, you're drifting off just a little bit past your jawbone. Okay. And if that was shorter, it would probably alleviate it. But all in all, the form's good. Everything looks pretty decent. So I'm gonna have you shoot another arrow. Do we need to pull or yeah? Come up on top of that and try to film over the top where you can see where the arrow is in relation to the elbow. Yeah, I bet if you shoot uphills and downhills, you vary a lot more. Okay. I think you're probably drifting off your jaw. So try shortening that up. Okay. If you can. Maybe take that up. Well, take that up first. Okay. Take that out and then shoot it some more. If it gets comfortable and doesn't feel awkward, then maybe take a little out of there. Okay. Yeah, let me grab you real quick. Okay. Now you're fine. Because then you can go comfortable in this area. Alright, this one loaded up. What's that? That's decent. Load up, drop back, point at the floor like you're shooting out of a tree stand.
Wait, what?
Like you're shooting out of a tree stand.
Oh, okay.
Or a really steep off a cliff edge or something where you point down at a steep degree. Don't fire it, just drop back, get comfortable on flat ground, and then point it like you're going off a cliff. Okay. Now go back to flat. Now point to the top of a mountain. Up, 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 up. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Alright, cool. Go ahead and set it down. Go on to your target and go ahead and discharge. Feel it come off your jaw a bit when you're trying to do that? Yeah. It's too long. So if you shorten that up, that may alleviate it. So that's when you know your draw length's right. Because when you do this, or you do this, and your hand feels like it stayed put. That's okay. Oh, my LeBron. If you get back to here, and you still feel relatively solid, you've probably got about the right length. And draw length isn't just setting that. It's the distance between things.
Gotcha.
How it feels for you.
So when I go to like this.
It's gonna be all different. Peep's going to be a different spot. Everything should be different.
Everything's gonna be different.
100%.
Just get one shot.
Yeah.
See what you
Oh yeah. So essentially,
Anchor-wise, you're probably kind of laying your hand up against the side of your jaw.
Okay.
With this right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to have a definitive anchor that's being bumped. So if you run your jawbone in between those two guys, follow it up to your ridge till it starts to come up, and have that be the point in which you anchor your hand, everything's going to be different. So your peep's not going to be in the same spot, everything's going to need to be changed. If you end up shooting a handheld, this loop length might not be bad because it's going to pinch a little.
Okay.
If you make it super short to where this would work, well, you're probably going to wear pretty hard.
Okay.
You may not necessarily twist the string, but it's going to wear. Okay. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Oh, that was the shoot off. Yeah. I gotcha. I was like, wow, you crushed that course.
I'm sitting here practicing all the stuff I just got taught,
Whenever you're comfortable.
and I missed the whole circle.
You done already?
I don't know what was next. It's just one shot, right?
Oh, that was the shoot off.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I was like, wow, you crushed that course.
I'm sitting here practicing all the stuff I just got taught,
Whenever you're comfortable.
and I missed the whole circle.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So, a lot of joints, a lot of things moving in here to create variance that will allow you to feel like you're in the same spot, but you're not necessarily. If you put that knuckle against that pressure point, it's kind of hard to miss. And when you get back to here, as the bow wants to creep, it'll push out and you won't see your peep. You'll realize you're creeping.
Okay.
So, something to consider and try. You don't have to, but it would roll your hand inward and place that knuckle right back there.
This right there, that one? That one. Okay.
Yeah, like make a fist and stick the fist right
Okay.
like that. There you go. Nice. Nice. Turn your knuckle in, we talked about. There you go. Okay, you see everything okay there? Somewhat. You can kind of see where the arrows. Okay, now point at the floor like you're trying to shoot out of a tree stand at a really steep angle. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, now point up like you're shooting up the mountainside and it's a really steep mountain. Up, 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 up. All right, come down. Okay, whenever you're comfortable, go ahead. That exercise will tell you how long your draw length is. Because unfortunately we don't shoot most of our hunting shots like this.
Yeah.
We shoot them like that. If your hand's drifting off, which it didn't there, if you added a half inch to that, I bet you it would. Your hand would probably drift off the back when you're trying to point. And you can tell when you're watching somebody's face and their string starts moving around on their nose a lot when they go up and when they go down. That means it's shifting back. And you did a little bit, but not a lot. So I think your length is probably okay. I would not add anything to it.
Okay.
As soon as you try to shoot a steep downhill or a steep uphill, your sight picture's all of a sudden going to start moving about twice as much as it should. It's because you're losing your anchor off there.
What do people mean by pulling through the shot?
Okay, so pulling through the shot is the practice of applying pressure frontwards and backwards, back tension, to discharge your bow. So hook your finger around your trigger, come onto the target and push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, and the mechanism of expansion will drive your finger into the trigger and discharge the trigger. So you're not thinking about this at all. You're just pulling, 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 and the movement that your body makes you go off. It's hard to do with a caliper if you don't know how to do it. It's a lot easier with a back tension release or rotational sear style that as your hand rotates, it fires the release.
Okay.
Or a Dudley, whatever they call the spring tension one where you just let go of it, just pull harder. You don't have to rotate that. As you just pull harder, it just goes off. Same kind of concept, but it's not actually teaching you the mechanism of movement, it's just telling you to pull harder.
Okay. And why do people do that?
If your bow is weighted front and you're not gripping it, it should do that. So if you have enough stabilizer on the front of your bow wants to roll forward, and you don't hang on to it with your hand, it will follow through forward.
Okay.
And most people do have, that are shooting somewhat targety or for accuracy, have a bit of weight in the front because it slows down the bow's movement. It forces this to go smaller. The longer your stabilizer is in the front, the slower your sight picture will look. It'll just move less. No different than if I handed you a 6-inch 2x4 and you held it out like that and tried to move your arm around, and I handed you a 12-inch 2x2 and you did the same thing, it would feel like it weighed 3 times as much.
Is it okay my nose being on there?
Yeah, you want your nose on the string.
Okay, but it's not too much face pressure?
No, because you're not really pushing into it. In an ideal world, your peep would probably be a little higher and the tip of your nose would be on the string instead of the side. So go ahead and fire that. Come down here and film one more.
I tried doing the hinge for that one, and like it was.
Okay, so now, before you fire that, I'm going to move your hand over.
Okay.
So just way off.
Oh really?
Keep it back. Weird. Yeah, right there. Keep your hand there. Good. Tip your head up to bring it down to a tip touches. Perfect. Now that's more of an ideal head position because you can tell how far down your nose is. Now go ahead and go back to where you were. So anchor in and find your peep. Are you looking through your peep? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So if you're on that, go ahead and fire it whenever you're comfortable. If you're on the tip of your nose.